for someone that is unfamiliar with Lloyd's, can you talk about why Lloyd's was founded and the value that Lloyd's brings to the insurance industry?
I will. Now, I will take you back to 1688, right? So this is a time that is so different to the one we're in now, where we're communicating across the Atlantic in the digital fashion like this. In the heart of the city of London, it was dirty, grimy, noisy, but merchants were gathering because the port of London, right by the city of London, the financial district of London at that time, was getting really busy. So the merchants were starting to export and import and ship goods around the world. And a coffee house opened that was run by an Edward Lloyd. Now, in those days, a lot of coffee shops were around, and they used to specialize in a certain sector or area. Now, Edward Lloyd and his coffee shop decided to specialize in maritime news, so that the merchants, ship owners, they would all gather at his coffee shop to get the latest news. Perhaps a ship had been lost at sea to weather or to pirates or something. So he became this sort of hub. And then they all sort of, and they were all men, all these guys were standing around or perhaps sitting around and saying, well, gosh, it might be my shipment, my ship I lose, my cargo. Why don't we start sharing the risk? And that was how Lloyd started to share risk. And it was done in the form of, the voyage, the ship would be all documented. And then people who wanted to take a share of that, they would write their name and a percentage of the risk that they were going to take. And they would write it under each name. So you had the term underwriter sort of being born.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if that ship was lost, they had to pay out. And that was the original founding. That was the start of Lloyd's. And then over years, the next thing, we had the motor vehicle come along. And in fact, Lloyd's was the first insurer or the first body to insure a motor vehicle. So the first policy, it would describe the car as a vessel on wheels because it didn't have any other way of describing it. And from there, Lloyd's got a reputation for insuring things for the first time. So any new thing that came along, any new invention, any crazy idea, Lloyd's was there to insure it. It did the first D&O insurance. It, did the first time a satellite went up into space. It did the first flight of an aircraft. And it just got known for taking the new risks on. And the reason it did that was because of that sharing, that subscription approach, which meant that you could take just a little bit for your balance sheet, for your syndicate, as it was called, and you'd share it with others. And so there was a collective safety and a collective knowledge that was building up, and people had the courage to take little bits of these new risks.